Namaskaram. Change. Most people think it takes years, lifetimes even. But transformation is not bound by time. It is not a question of years or weeks. It is a question of willingness. Awareness is the most fundamental and powerful step toward transformation. Without awareness, nothing can truly change. One may switch habits, adopt new behaviors, or even change surroundings, but if awareness is absent, the shift remains superficial. True change arises not from external circumstances, but from an inner awakening, a conscious turning inward. Most human beings are walking through life in a state of semi-sleep. They are awake in body, but their mind is a constant repetition of memories, fears, plans, and reactions. In such a state, the present moment is rarely touched. Life is happening, but they are absent. To cultivate awareness is to return to what is real, to what is happening now. Not in thought, not in imagination, but in direct experience. Begin with simple things. Become aware of your breath. This is not philosophy or technique. Just pay attention to how the air moves in and out. Watch it without trying to control it. Immediately, something subtle shifts. You are no longer entangled in the mind's drama. You have stepped back into the witness seat. From this place, clarity begins to dawn. Awareness is not the same as thinking. It is not analysis or judgment. It is pure observation. If you watch a tree, a bird, or a flowing river without labeling it, you begin to see it, not as an object but as a living presence. The same applies to your thoughts and emotions. Simply watch them. When a thought arises, I am not good enough, or this should not be happening, don't argue with it, don't push it away. Just notice it. Like a cloud drifting in the sky, it comes and it goes. You are the sky, not the cloud. This space between you and your thought is where transformation begins. Because once you realize that you are not your thought, you are not your emotion, you are not even your body. Start to tap into a deeper dimension of self. You see, awareness is not a tool. It is not something you do. It is what you are. But you are so identified with what is happening on the surface that you have forgotten the depth of your own being. Try this. When you walk, just walk. Feel each step. Hear the sounds. Sense the wind on your face. Don't let the mind race ahead to what's next. Just be there with the walk. When you eat, taste each bite. When you speak, listen to your own words. Awareness turns ordinary moments into sacred experiences. There is nothing too small to be observed. A breath, a blink, the movement of your fingers. Everything becomes alive when seen with awareness. Most people live reactively. Something happens and they respond without consciousness. Someone says a harsh word and anger erupts. A fear arises and they shrink. But if you are aware, you can see these reactions arising before they take over. You can choose. That is the power of awareness. It gives you space between stimulus and response. And in that space, freedom. In the beginning, it may seem difficult. The mind is used to wandering. It will resist being watched. It will try to distract you with thoughts, urges, judgments. That's okay. Awareness is not perfection. It is not about always being alert. It is about returning again and again to presence, without guilt, without frustration. Just return. Even if for 1 minute a day you are fully aware, that 1 minute is more valuable than hours of unconscious activity. And slowly that 1 minute becomes 2, then 10, then a way of being. Awareness is not separate from life, it is life. Without it, you are a machine repeating patterns. With it, you become human in the true sense, capable of choice, of depth, of love. Taking total responsibility for your life is not about blame, guilt, or burden. It is about empowerment. Most people go through life believing that what happens to them is the result of external factors, other people's situations, past experiences, or even fate. They live in reaction, not in creation. But as long as you think that your life is shaped by something outside of you, you have surrendered your power. Responsibility means the ability to respond. When you say, I am responsible, you are not saying, I am at fault. You are saying, I have the ability to respond consciously to whatever comes. This shift is subtle but profound. Imagine two people going through the same situation. For example, they lose their jobs. One blames the company, the economy, the government. The other says, this is what has happened. Now what is the best I can do from here? The difference is not in the circumstance, but in the inner stance. One is a victim. The other is a creator. Taking responsibility does not mean you control everything. It means you take charge of your inner atmosphere. What you think, how you feel, how you act, that is yours. The moment you begin to own your experience, everything starts to shift. You stop waiting for others to change. You stop expecting the world to be fair, perfect, or tailored to your needs. You realize that while you cannot choose every situation, you can always choose your response. And in that, there is immense freedom. For many people, this idea feels uncomfortable. It is easier to complain, to blame, to point fingers, but comfort and growth rarely go together. Growth begins when you drop the excuses and ask the hard question, what can I do now with what I have, where I am? Responsibility is not a weight, it is liberation. It means that no matter what has happened to you, you are not defined by it. You are not your story. You are not your scars. You are what you choose to become. People who carry deep pain often say, I had no choice. But even in pain, there is choice. The choice to remain bitter or become better. The choice to numb out or become more conscious. The choice to suppress or to transform. When you take full responsibility, you stop negotiating with your own potential. You stop saying, I will try, or maybe someday. You understand that your life is your business. No one else is here to live it for you. Not your partner, not your partner, not your friends. You may receive support or resistance, but ultimately how you walk your path is yours alone. If you sit down, you sit. If you rise, you rise. The world responds not to your desires, but to your decisions. This does not mean becoming harsh with yourself. It means becoming honest. If you are angry, own it. If you are afraid, acknowledge it. But also know that these states are not permanent. You can rise above them if you stop giving them power. Responsibility is not about suppressing emotions. It is about seeing them clearly and deciding whether they serve your growth. It is about understanding that you may not be able to control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. Taking responsibility also means letting go of the need to control others. You realize that your peace cannot depend on someone else's behavior. If you are disturbed by what someone said, the disturbance is yours. What they said is theirs. The moment you try to fix others, you are already distracted from your own work. Stay with yourself. When you become a master of your inner state, the outside world has less power over you. Responsibility requires presence. You cannot be responsible if you are not aware. It is not about reacting impulsively. It is about responding from a place of clarity. When you slow down and observe your choices, you begin to act with intention instead of habit. This is how you move from unconscious repetition to conscious evolution. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is the depth of it. In the modern world, people have come to equate movement with progress, noise with significance, and activity with success. The more you do, the more important you feel. But if you look closely, much of this activity is unconscious, compulsive, and repetitive. The mind jumps from thought to thought, emotion to emotion, like a restless monkey. In such a state, clarity becomes impossible. It is like trying to see your reflection in a pond while the surface is disturbed. Only when the water becomes still can you see clearly. The same is true with your mind. Stillness does not mean becoming inactive or escaping from the world. It means being fully present, undistracted, and rooted within yourself. When the external noise settles and the internal chatter fades, a deeper intelligence begins to operate. This intelligence is not learned, it is innate. It knows without thinking. It acts without reacting. But to access it, one must cultivate stillness. Not as a concept, not as a technique, but as a lived experience. For most people, silence is uncomfortable. The moment there is nothing to do, they reach for a phone, a conversation, a distraction. They fear silence because it reveals what is within. When you sit silently, your inner world becomes visible. Your desires, your fears, your judgments. But that is the point. Unless you see what's within, how will you go beyond it? Stillness is the mirror in which the mind can see itself. Without this mirror, you remain a stranger to your own nature. Try this. Sit alone for a few minutes without speaking, without doing anything. Just sit and breathe. The mind will protest. Thoughts will rise. Sensations will demand attention. Let them come. Don't fight them. Don't follow them. Just sit like a mountain, unmoving, present. Watch whatever arises without getting involved. At first it feels like nothing is happening. But slowly you begin to notice a space opening inside. That space is you. Not your roles, not your thoughts, but your being. In stillness, time slows down. The past loses its grip. The future stops pulling. You arrive in the now, not as an idea, but as experience. This moment, this breath, this presence. And in that presence, healing happens. Not because you fix something, but because you stop interfering. The body, the mind, the energy, all of them carry intelligence. But constant activity blocks their flow. Stillness allows that intelligence to surface and guide you. There is immense power in doing nothing consciously. The world celebrates noise, but it is in silence that true realization dawns. A tree grows in silence. A flower blooms in silence. Even the sun rises without a sound. Nature moves with grace because it is not frantic. It is aligned. When you are still, you begin to move in alignment too. Your actions become efficient. Your words meaningful. Your presence grounding. You no longer react to life. You respond from depth. Stillness also reveals what truly matters. When the distractions fade, priorities become clear. You begin to see which pursuits are driven by ego and which arise from truth. You recognize how much of your stress is self-created, how many of your conflicts are unnecessary. In stillness, you don't become less, you become more centered, more aware, more connected to life as it is. Cultivating stillness is not about adding something new. It is about peeling away what is false. It is about making space, not just externally but internally. Space for insight, space for intuition, space for peace. In that space, transformation becomes natural. You don't have to force anything. Stillness is the womb of clarity. Everything you need to know, everything you need to become is already within you. You just have to stop long enough to listen. Alignment means bringing all aspects of yourself into a single direction. For most people, life is fragmented. The body wants one thing, the mind another, the emotion something else entirely, and the energy moves without awareness. When you are divided within yourself, every step feels like resistance. Every goal becomes a struggle. But when your body, mind, emotions, and energy are aligned toward a single intention, your movement through life becomes effortless. You stop swimming against the current. You begin to flow. Imagine a horse with 4 legs running in different directions. What kind of journey would that be? Chaos. This is how many people live. They say one thing but do another. They desire peace but feed their minds with conflict. They want health but live in habits that destroy it. This inner conflict is the root of much suffering. Alignment is not a luxury. It is the foundation of a coherent and powerful life. Start with the body. Your body is the vehicle through which you experience life. If your body is tired, toxic, or sluggish, clarity becomes difficult. The body responds to how you treat it. What you eat, how you move, how you rest, all of it matters. Bring awareness to your physical habits. Eat what nourishes, not what merely pleases. Move in ways that energize. Rest deeply, not just with sleep but through conscious relaxation. When the body is at ease, it supports your inner work rather than distracting from it. Then come to the mind. The mind is a powerful tool, but it should be your servant, not your master. Most people are slaves to their own thoughts. The mind pulls them here and there, constantly analyzing, judging, remembering, worrying. An undirected mind creates noise, not insight. Learn to guide your mind gently. Choose what thoughts you entertain. Focus on what matters. Create space for silence between thoughts. With practice, the mind becomes sharp, precise, and quiet when needed. It stops reacting and starts seeing. Emotions are subtler but just as influential. They color your perception, shape your decisions, and impact your relationships. If you are emotionally volatile, your energy leaks. One moment you are inspired, the next moment discouraged. To align your emotions, first become aware of them. Don't suppress them, but don't indulge them blindly either. Watch what triggers your emotions. Are they based on truth or assumptions? Are they helping you or harming you? Choose emotions that support your growth, compassion, courage, humility, love. These are not random moods, they are cultivated states. Finally, your energy. Most are unaware of their energy, yet it drives everything. Have you noticed how some people walk into a room and uplift it, while others bring tension without saying a word? That is energy in action. Your energy can be scattered or focused, heavy or light, stagnant or vibrant. Practices like conscious breathing, meditation, and being in nature help align your energy. When your energy is steady and vibrant, it carries your intentions into action without resistance. When all these layers, body, mind, emotion, and energy, are aligned, you become like a laser. Focused, potent, clear. You no longer waste effort. You stop second-guessing. You move from knowing to being. There is an internal coherence, a sense of integrity that guides your every step. Others may not understand it, but they will feel it. Because alignment is not just seen, it is felt. You do not have to be perfect to be aligned. It is not about controlling every thought or emotion. It is about creating harmony. It is about becoming one within yourself. When you are one, you are strong. When you are divided, even the smallest challenge breaks you. Alignment brings resilience, direction, and a natural joy. You no longer need to be pushed by fear or pulled by desire. You move from your own center. You move with purpose, but without pressure. You live with intention, not compulsion. Letting go of what no longer serves you is not about loss. It is about liberation. Most people carry within them not only memories and experiences, but also attachments, fears, beliefs, and identities that have long outlived their purpose. These inner burdens become invisible weights, draining energy and clouding clarity. Letting go does not mean you discard your responsibilities or reject your past. It means you recognize what is no longer aligned with your growth and release your grip on it. It means you stop holding on to what is holding you back. Life is constantly changing. Seasons shift, relationships evolve. The body ages, circumstances transform. But while life flows, the human tendency is to cling to people, ideas, outcomes, emotions, and images of oneself. This clinging creates suffering. Not because change is painful, but because resistance to change is painful. Letting go is the art of becoming fluid again, of allowing life to move through you without turning everything into a fixed identity. It could be a thought you repeat to yourself. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. Or this is just who I am. These are not truths. They are impressions collected from past experiences, often based on fear, judgment, or misunderstanding. Yet people wear them like armor, believing that they are necessary for survival. In reality, they only limit what you can become. The moment you question these thoughts, not fight them, but simply ask if they're useful, you create space for a new possibility. That space is where transformation begins. Sometimes what you must let go of is not a thought, but a role or identity. Perhaps you have defined yourself through struggle, or by being needed, or by being in control. But as you grow, what once felt necessary may become a cage. Letting go of identity is one of the most challenging things because it feels like letting go of the self. But the truth is, you are not the identity. You are the awareness behind it. When one mask falls, a deeper authenticity emerges. Letting go also applies to emotions. Many carry anger, resentment, grief, or guilt long after the moment that triggered them has passed. These emotions may have been valid in the past, but when they are held on to, they become toxic. Holding on to pain does not protect you. It only prolongs your suffering. Forgiveness is not about excusing others. It is about freeing yourself. When you let go of emotional baggage, you create room for peace, joy, and connection to return. Even desires need to be examined. Wanting something is not wrong, but when desire turns into attachment, it binds you. You begin to measure your worth by whether or not you get what you want. This creates anxiety and disappointment. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you act with intention but remain open to the outcome. You give your best, but you do not become entangled in results. Letting go is not a one-time act. It is a continual process, a way of living with lightness. It requires honesty to see what no longer fits, and courage to release it without knowing what will take its place. It is not passive. It is a deeply conscious act. Sometimes what you let go of is subtle. A need for approval, a constant inner dialogue, an unconscious habit of comparison. Other times it may be significant. A relationship that no longer nurtures, a job that drains your spirit, a belief that confines your vision. When you let go, you do not become less. You become more spacious, more available to life. New insights emerge, creativity flows, and a natural sense of peace arises. You begin to realize that what you feared losing was never truly yours. And what is truly yours can never be lost. Letting go is not rejection. It is realignment. It is not the end of something. It is the clearing of space for something greater to unfold, or it is not a reaction. It is a way of seeing. It is not something to feel only when things go well or when desires are fulfilled. It is the recognition that life itself is a gift, regardless of its form in any given moment. Most people experience gratitude sporadically, when something happens that pleases them. A compliment, a success, a moment of peace. But true gratitude is not dependent on circumstances. It is a state of being that arises when you become aware of the simple miracle of existence. The sun rises, air fills your lungs, your heart beats without instruction, and yet how often do these things go unnoticed? The mind is trained to look for what is missing, what is wrong, what could be better. It is constantly chasing improvement, achievement, validation. While there is nothing wrong with aspiring, when gratitude is absent, even success becomes hollow. When gratitude is present, even the smallest experience becomes rich with meaning. Gratitude is not a denial of difficulty. It does not mean pretending everything is fine when it is not. It means choosing to see what is still beautiful, still working, still alive, even amidst pain. It is the ability to hold both joy and sorrow without becoming lost in either. When you are grateful, you stop waiting for life to meet your conditions and start receiving life as it is. This shift opens the heart, softens the mind, and brings an effortless kind of peace. Start with the most ordinary things. The ability to see, to walk, to speak. The taste of food, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of laughter. These are not small things, they are life itself. When you begin to see them as gifts, you become less reactive and more present. Gratitude grounds you. It brings you back from the imaginary world of what should be into the reality of what is. Practice acknowledging what you often overlook. If someone smiles at you, if a task goes smoothly, if your body feels strong, pause for a moment. Recognize it. Don't just move on to the next thing. The more you notice what is already good, the more goodness begins to reveal itself. It is not that more good things happen. It is that your awareness sharpens, your heart opens, and your experience deepens. Gratitude also transforms relationships. When you focus on what is lacking in others, you create distance. When you appreciate even the small gestures, someone listening, helping, or simply being present, a bridge forms. Gratitude nourishes connection. It invites warmth, trust, and understanding. It becomes easier to forgive, to support, to see the shared humanity in one another. It also changes how you relate to yourself. Instead of constantly judging what you are not, you begin to acknowledge what you are. The efforts you make, the growth you've achieved, the courage you've shown, these deserve recognition. Gratitude toward oneself is not arrogance. It is self-honoring. It allows healing to happen from within. Gratitude is not about collecting reasons to be thankful. It is about training your attention. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. If you constantly focus on lack, that becomes your reality. If you learn to notice abundance, you start living in it. This does not mean denying challenges, but choosing not to be consumed by them. It means letting your perception expand to include the full picture, both the shadows and the light. Even in moments of uncertainty, there is something to be grateful for: the opportunity to grow, the strength to endure, the wisdom that is quietly forming in the background. Life does not owe you anything, and yet it gives you everything. When you live in gratitude, you stop asking, "What can I get from life?" and start asking, "What can I receive? What can I offer? How can I honor this moment?" Gratitude makes you receptive, and in that receptivity, something sacred enters. In the journey of changing your life in just 1 week, it becomes clear that transformation is not about rushing or forcing, but about conscious choice and inner clarity. When you take full responsibility for your life, embrace stillness to connect with your deeper self, align every part of your being, let go of what no longer serves you, and cultivate gratitude for the present moment, you step into a new dimension of living. Change happens not because the outside world shifts instantly, but because your inner world rearranges itself with intention and awareness. This inner alchemy is what truly reshapes your experience, making every day an opportunity to grow, to become more whole, and to live with profound freedom and joy. The power to change is always within you, and 1 week is enough to begin that journey.